always inspired courage in me and levity in me. There's some subtext of comedy that everything's going to be okay.
I spent the day with Joey Diaz and Ralphie May.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
9/11?
Yeah.
Yeah, like who else would you have rather been with? When you think back of the tragedy, I bet you can think of 4 or 5 things you laughed at that day. Not about the tragedy, but we just laugh.
We were high as fuck, and we were just freaking out about the fact there's no planes. Like, look at the sky, there's no planes. There's no planes.
It's that. Comedians,
yeah.
You know, it's funny that this genre is under attack because to me, this is the everything's going to be okay genre.
It's under attack because people have this ability to complain about things now, and then people pile on. It's a new thing, and they realize it's very useful. It's a good weapon, and if you choose targets, you could take targets out. You can go after them, and so it becomes a hobby. It becomes a hobby like if you see a window and you got a rock, you feel like throwing that rock. And so a lot of times these targets aren't justified, but you can find a justification. You could say, oh, they put these words together in this order, and if you look at it in quotes written down on paper, you go, oh, well, this is ableist, or this is this, or this is that. This is something we can attack. Let's attack. This is transphobic. This is homophobic. Attack. And it's a recreation. It's recreational outrage.
It is exactly. The last time I came on your show when Donnell was here, and I fucked up. I looked at the comment section. I'll never do that shit again. I'll never do that shit. First comment is somebody said, Dave looks like he stinks. Word. Like, word. Like, what did I do? What did I ever do to you, bud?
When RZA was on with Donnell, that's the first thing I said to Donnell after the show. I go, hey, man, that was fun. Don't read the comments.
Yeah.
Don't read the comments.
No, don't.
And Donnell just dove right into that comments, and he was on a deep spiral of mental illness for several days.
Yeah, he said, man, I kept saying I interrupt, son. Yeah, yeah, I heard all about it. We was on tour after that. He's traumatized.
He got shook. I told him, stay out of there. Don't read that shit. You're the same person. You don't want to be affected by those people.
No, you don't.
No, because they just want to bring you down to their level. They're miserable.
But whoever wrote that comment that said Dave looks like he stinks is probably going to watch this and be like, nailed it. So congratulations, motherfucker. And I can't wait to read your comment about me commenting on your comment. You're in the big time, bitch. Your mother stinks. Comment on that, too.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, comments. Comments are a weird thing.
I mean, it is. But like you say, and here's the rub, you can just not read them.
Yeah.
Or you can just not click on that special that's going to hurt your feelings. At a certain point, you got to look at this shit like food. What are you eating? What are you putting in your mind?
That's what I keep saying about me when people get outraged about my podcast. I'm like, well, you don't have to listen to it. Like, why are you listening to it looking for things that are pissing you off? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like listening to someone's ass when they take a shit and be like, ew, you farted. well, what the fuck are you doing in here anyway? What's wrong with these people?
Well, people are looking to get mad.
There's plenty of things to be authentically mad about.
Yes. But those are confusing and frustrating.
And it takes time, patience, research.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot going on with those.
Why do that?
Yeah.
Why do all that?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm optimistic about the future, but I think because I've never seen these things before, I can't quite call where it's going.
It's a challenging time, but human beings have always done better than the previous generation. Every single generation, if you follow like Steven Pinker's work, from the beginning of time, from recorded history to now, it's the safest time to be alive ever. And it's a very clear trend. We struggle, we have conflict, there's ups and downs, there's mistakes, and there's good decisions, but ultimately things become safer, they become better, we accept each other more. I mean, think about like when I was a kid, gay marriage was impossible. Like you couldn't get married if you were gay.
Right.
And whenever they would propose it, people would freak out. Right. Now it's nationwide. It's like things change. Even though there's more violence now than ever before, I mean, there's not more violence now than ever before. You see it. You see violence now more than you ever have before because of social media. You could pull up Instagram videos of car accidents and gunfights and crazy shit. But the reality is there's less violence than ever before. There's less murder than ever before. It's a slow trend. And Pinker gets criticized for this because people don't want to hear that, because they go, but what about all the injustice? What about all the murders? What about all the crime? There is all that shit. There is rape. All that stuff is real, but it's way less than ever before in history. And I think as time moves on, it'll get even better. There'll be hiccups. There'll be ups
But it's
and downs.
not less. It's not less because people are sick of that behavior. It's not like these things happen less often because people had to do things to make these things happen less often. It didn't organically just be like, that's enough murder for us. We had to do some shit.
People had to do some shit.
Right. We had to, gay marriage. People had to be made aware of how people are struggling. One of the great things of that movement was when everyone started coming out the closet and everyone realized, oh, like 5 of my best friends are gay and were embarrassed when we were saying this, that, and the other.
Right.
And then you realize you like this person more than you like whatever prejudice you're carrying around. These types of actions are what changes. Information.
Yeah. And as more information gets out about what's avoidable and unavoidable, and the more we get to understand each other, the more we realize we have way more in common than we don't.
Right.
As time goes on, I think we're going to get better. I think our culture, our civilization will be improved upon. Like what we have now, we have now is a very unique struggle that's never existed before, because it's a combination struggle, right? It's a virus, a disease, it's fear, it's anxiety, and then economic depression, all thrown in together, and it scares the fuck out of people because they're powerless, because all of a sudden the government comes along and says you can't work, or your business is not essential. Imagine being told you don't have an essential business.
I was.
Well, comedians are,
we're
in a
not
way
essential.
Fortunately, podcasts were, for whatever weird reason, an essential business. So were liquor stores, which is kind of crazy.
Well, because your podcast was like a beacon of some semblance of normalcy. It didn't look something like, Joe, you look good, and the world's going on. But there's also something illusory about it.
Yeah.
Because if they see us on yachts popping bottles while they're going through this thing,
right,
they're going to feel like, well, is something wrong with me? Or like,
there's a lot of tone-deaf folks out there that didn't get that. Are out there taking that photo in front of a private jet with a Gucci bag, smiling.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is not the time for that.
Yeah.